So today we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where Israel forms an empire. Once again, we're continuing on with the Empire series, and today we're going to be making Israel have itself an empire. Now, this might be a slightly controversial video for a multitude of reasons. Yeah, Israel kind of has some negative correlation with it, but anyway, if you do enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're on day 3 of daily upload week, still aiming for the 100,000 mark, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, let's go ahead and just jump right into this video. So Israel's first task as an empire is to obviously expand, and that's just because that's really all they can really do in these videos. So most obviously, they're gonna go after the country which they have horrible relations with. It's not yeah, okay, let's just skip this part. All right, so Israel's first task as an empire is to go after Lebanon. Lebanon is just up north, smaller than Israel and a lot weaker than Israel too, so they're gonna go right after them, and they're probably gonna have an easy time doing so. The Israelis invade in from the south. They mainly focus in on capturing Lebanon's coast. They do so successfully, and within a couple of weeks we have the surrender of the country. Looking at this peace treaty here, pretty simple. Israel annexes all of Lebanon, and by the way, Israel will be colored in red throughout this entire video. That's just to showcase that that is indeed Israel. So if you ever forget what Israel looks like, just remember that they're red. But now they're gonna go after another country. This time it's going to be Jordan. Now Jordan is a fairly you forget that it exists kind of country. I forget it exists. It doesn't do much since has it even done anything since it got independence? It probably did, but Israel is going to violate their neutrality and invade into the country. Once again, Israel is actually a pretty strong country. Like when you look at its size, you wouldn't think that it's too strong, but it is, and that's mostly because of this fella over here, the United States. They can get stuff done, and that's exactly what they're doing in Jordan here. They split the country in half, and eventually it surrenders. Now in this peace treaty, we once again see full annexation by Israel. That's just basically what they have to do right now in order to get larger. Israel is a small country before, now they're still a really small country, but they're gaining a lot of land. So now they're going to invade Syria. Wait, looks like Turkey's already doing that for us. Turkey's invasion of Syria is met with a lot of criticism around the world, but then Israel decides that they want some of that too, and they join in on this war, not on the side of Turkey, but just to, grab as much land as possible. Israel immediately attempts to encircle Syria's capital area, which they do so successfully, and then they manage to push into this area and take their capital. From here, they push up and around and eventually decide to make a peace deal with the Turks, basically saying that we will get this much of land and you will get the rest. These aren't the final borders here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the peace treaty. Looking at this peace treaty here, we have Turkey getting a majority of Syria. Now, of course, they instigated the war. They did the most in the war. They're going to get the most amount of land. Israel recognizes that, and they decide to take the southern half of Syria, which is going to give them a lot more land. Like I said earlier, not having a lot of land is right now a problem for Israel. Them expanding out is helping them be more stable. And of course, having more land usually means the positives, unless it's just like you're taking the land and not really assimilating it, then you're going to have a problem. But Israel's doing that in this case. Everyone's happy except for the Palestinians and the Jordanese and the Syrians and the Lebanese. I just butchered everything there. I am so sorry if you're from any of those countries. So now there's a little bit of paperwork going back and forth between these two. No one really knows what it says because no one even knows it exists. But do know there's some things going back and forth between Jerusalem and Ankara. All right, let's zoom out on the world map and take a look at Israel here. They are now noticeable. I mean, they were noticeable before if you knew where Israel was and you were looking for it. But now if you look at the map, you're like, oh, there's a big old country right there under Turkey. It's also important to mention at this point in the Empire video that Empire videos typically have the country that they're featuring. So in this case, Israel, they're usually buffed. And that's just to make it more interesting for the actual country itself. It allows them to expand. So if I were to do a Switzerland Empire, which I have, they wouldn't be able to expand anywhere outside of Austria because France, Germany, and Italy are stronger than them. But if they're buffed, they'll be able to do just that, so they can invade Italy, peace out for some land, get stronger, so on and so forth. Same thing with Israel here. That's important to mention as they go to war with Egypt. Now, this did kind of happen in real life, the 6-Day War, and Israel technically won it. Of course, there was no land exchange, but Israel got this far, so in my books, having more land is winning a war. Also depends on your troops, and it also depends on other factors like how long did it take. 6 days for all that is pretty impressive considering Egypt didn't push back. So Israel manages to take over all of this area once again, and now they push even further into Egypt. Egypt, who should probably be not losing how they are, is obviously mad, and they're going to start sending some bombs into Israeli territory, and a lot of people are going to look at Egypt in a bad way here. If they had any support before, it's not gonna be as strong. And this just fuels Israel, who goes even deeper into Egypt. They even managed to get to the gates of Cairo. They don't take it because I'm assuming they wouldn't allow that to slip. Also, they're not going to be able to take Alexandria, so let's uncolor that. They do encircle it though, which pressures Egypt into a peace treaty. Looking ahead at this peace treaty here, Israel is becoming they're unrecognizable. I was gonna say pretty unrecognizable, but like now no one would know this would be Israel. Everyone would be confused as to what this is. Maybe it's Jordan, maybe it's Lebanon, or yeah, no, it's probably Jordan, but that's actually Israel, or actually maybe Palestine. We would never know. Israel is getting good gains here, and now Iran is going to go to war with them. And in addition to Iran, Iraq is going to go to war with them. Now this is surprising to Israel because they didn't do anything to these two. Iran just has a weird hatred towards Israel, so that's why that happened. But the blue team will get the jump on Israel here, as they weren't expecting an invasion, obviously. And the blue team is soon to meet the gates of Jerusalem after hammering over towards the city. Now, remember that paperwork I was talking about earlier between Turkey and Israel? Well, that was a secret alliance. And now they're gonna fight against Iraq and Iran together. Turkey, who kind of saw this buildup coming but decided not to inform their ally of it, was well, they're stacking troops on the border. That might be the reason Iran and Iraq decided to invade Israel, just to test Turkey, in which the answers to the test were given very quickly. Turkey invades northern Iraq, as well as pushing into the mountainous areas of Iran. Israel gets their stuff together and pushes back the blue team almost completely out of their country, while also sending troops up north of Turkey in order to fight in Iraq. At this point, Iraq is becoming Iraq, like they were in 2003, and kind of dying. They lose Baghdad. Iran pulls all their troops away from Iraq, and that kind of just, they killed their partner. Assisted suicide, I guess that's what it would be, since they joined the war as the aggressor. I don't know. But nonetheless, Iran is pushed back to the border, and they are still losing ground in Iraq to the Israeli army, which I don't even know if they'd be able to spread out this far. The Turkish army will though, and that's exactly what they're doing. So Iran is pushed all the way back. They're now on the Iraqi border, and there are some Israeli troops crossing over in the south. What is Iran going to do here? They're going to try to bomb a lot of cities, and in response to that, Israel and Turkey are going to bomb a lot of cities over here. And I know I don't do this ever, and it's kind of became a meme lately where I say I don't do it and then I do it. But there's a little green thing dropped on Iran's capital here, and that's a nuke. Yeah, Tehran is just gone. It's obliterated. Israel used one of their nukes, which they don't actually have that many, so they should probably be a little bit more conservative with it. But this one had a big old FU on it, and Iran felt that. They try to send out one of their test nukes, and it ends up hitting some family home in Iraq. And that's ultimately going to stop Iran from existing, as they just know. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this peace treaty here. Peace treaty is looking great for Israel and Turkey here, as they take over a lot of land from Iraq. And of course, Turkey does get a little bit of Iran, as they were the leading effort in this war. But most importantly, Israel is large. Iraq is on the point of collapsing, and Saudi Arabia decides that they're going to go ahead and invade Iraq here. Now, there is a little bit of a problem, and that's that the troops were a little bit off coordinated here, and they accidentally started to invade the wrong country. And of course, that country just happens to be Israel. Israel, who was already feeling kind of ballsy and might have wanted to go on after Saudi Arabia, is going to retaliate. And yeah, so now it's Israel versus Saudi Arabia. They retract their invasion of Iraq, which I'm not really sure if you can just do that. Like, oh, just kidding, I'll take my troops out, forget about it. I don't think you can do that in real life, but that's what Saudi Arabia just did. And of course, all of their troops are already like right up here, so it's going to be pretty nice for them. But also Israel, all their troops are like right over here, so it's going to be a really tough war over here. Israel pushes in from the edges of Jordan, while Saudi Arabia pushes up from the area they were just in. We have another Israeli army pushing in over here towards the Red Sea. They push down in hopes of maybe even getting all the way down to Mecca and Medina. This of course would not fly well with the entire Islamic world and Saudi Arabia, of course, but that just seems like an Israel thing to do, like, if I'm being honest. Now, Saudi Arabia is not just going to sit here and get invaded. Of course, they're going to push back, and they're going to push back in the more important areas, because I do believe Saudi Arabia would most likely be stronger than Israel here. But do remember, Israel is buffed, so that doesn't even matter. Upon a few stalemated days, we have Israel finally being able to push Saudi Arabia out of its own country. And from here, they start to refocus on that Saudi Arabian coast. Not really worried about pushing in over here, because they literally cannot. It's just stalemated. And it comes to a certain point where Saudi Arabia realizes that they're losing too much ground too fast. One of those major Islamic cities are captured, and Saudi Arabia finally decides to pull some of the troops out from this area in order to fight back the Israelis over here. Fortunately enough for Saudi Arabia, these guys aren't really dug in and fit to be defending, so they are pushed back fairly easy. But the side effects for that are that Israel just swept through the north. A few more weeks go by and they're stalemated at that. No one makes any gains until it finally reaches the 1 month period where there are still no gains. A few more days of fighting and eventually the two sides decide to meet for peace, with Israel of course being the victor in this war. Alright, so Israel just got a good portion of northern Saudi Arabia, of course focusing on the Red Sea because that's going to be the most valuable land, but of course also expanding their border from Jordan and giving their capital Jerusalem over here a little bit of space. At this point, the Israeli Empire is pretty much done. The thing that I can probably see them doing in the future is going after Iraq and maybe even, well, most likely making it into a puppet state. From there, they might go after Kuwait and make a really weird looking country. They could go after Saudi Arabia again, most likely going after Egypt here, taking over the northern coast and expanding even further. I don't see them betraying Turkey. I don't think that's something that they would want to do because Turkey would actually put up an even bigger fight than Saudi Arabia. But yeah, this is going to be the Israeli Empire. This video might be kind of short, and if it is, I do apologize for that. I am still recording this on the same day that you saw the first video, which I already forgot. It was the alternative future video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy that video. I have a feeling that you didn't. And if you didn't, I'm going to be really upset with you in 4 days because, like I said, I'm still recording this in the past for you. This is being made on the same day as the What If North America Disappeared video came out, which you guys did not like that video. I'm very disappointed. I thought you guys liked that series. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Daily upload week should be going strong. If it isn't, then shame on me for not making good enough videos for you guys. But yeah, I don't even know what we're at sub count wise. For me right now, it's 91,000. So I'm gonna go ahead and say maybe we're at 92,000 as of me record of when this is posted. I could be way off. I could be a lot less, which is probably true, or it could be a lot more. Maybe we're at 100k. Highly doubt that, but yeah, anyway, if you guys did enjoy, make sure to subscribe, get us to 100k if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.